when I left and joined the military, it has been a lot of people that I connected with the military.
Okay.
Because the path that I took as far as my walk with God
Sure.
has been different. And
Yeah, because military, wow. Like, military life, wow. My sister did 13 years Marines.
Really?
Her husband did 22. I'm like, boy, y'all some wild. Like, people talk about the locker room. I said the military and the locker room. I said, it's some freedom in there, but there's some wacky stuff going on. So
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we have some people that went left and
Oh,
try
of course.
to shoot up people. So
Everywhere.
you have people, and that's why I tell, even mainly women, they were like, I want a soldier. Some of them, all them soldiers ain't right. Honestly, all them soldiers ain't right.
Yep.
But me personally, even though I always had people around me because I was in extracurricular activities,
Okay.
because of my faith and my relationship with God, I kind of always been somewhat of a black sheep because
Okay.
I've had a pure relationship with God. So I kind of look like, okay, she's holy. She's righteous. So it really was those, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Band of Brothers. So we were a band of brothers or sisters. So it was those people that I connected with in the military. My friend Keisha, different people, they helped me out with my daughter. So it was those people that I connected with. And I'm still really good friends with a lot of people.
That's great.
I connected with in the military. And then and sometimes it's sad to say, and it make me think about what Jesus said, who is my mother, who's my father. And I'm just like, it's those people that
Who do the will of God.
It's been those people. And when I came down here to Texas, and even on the route as an influence, a lot of people did not understand that. And as far, it has sometimes a few of my relatives, but it hasn't been a lot of my blood relatives.
I tell. Well, that's a define. I think people are starting to grow to understand that. Like, that's a maturity thing, where number one, I would love to have deeper relationships with some of my family members, but you have to align with people according to your values, right? Like, how can you abandon, your true values, what makes you who you are as a person, just for the pretense of the idea of family? Like true family is those who actually do the same things, say the same things, aspire. So you realize when people depart in beliefs, we also depart in affections too. Mm-hmm. And that becomes sad because, like I said, when you grow up with somebody, when you're related to somebody, you kind of have this, like, this should be better. Like, we supposed to be aligned on this, but we're not.
Yeah.
Man.
And you have to be okay with that. And when I was younger, when I first left Mississippi, I felt the type of way and I felt burdened by that. But as my relationship grew with God, it didn't burden me.
Yeah.
And even coming here, and and here lately, the past few years, as I began to work with different athletes. One person who I have Bible study with, Tony Hills. Tony has been a big support. Rodney Smith.
Yep.
So Rodney, me and Alden Smith,
Yeah.
and so Alden always give me these stories. He's like, look, Eleasha, and you can't expect you out of people.
Yeah.
So I have key people, and I'm not always. I protect my peace.
Great.
I'm not always.
It's a great way of saying it right there. Protecting your peace.
Mm-hmm, I'm not always out like that. So I only have certain people that I'm around. So those are some of the key people that I'm always that's feeding really the word of God in me. When I finished my bachelor's at Dallas Baptist and my grad school at Dallas Baptist. The people that I met there, it's only, like I said, it's only a few. Yeah. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I laid out. I really was prostrate, and I said, God, I look back and I said, God, I really been alone. I said, I've been alone, and but I
Sure.
told him, I said, I'm okay with that.
Mm,
Like I said, I've been around, and I'm constantly around people,
sure.
but I'm alone. He isolates me a lot, but the people that are of value, the things that are of value, that's what I want to be a part of. Those are the people that I want around me. What's of value?
That's good. Mm-hmm. And really arriving at that stage. So what are you most excited about? Like, you mentioned, I mean, Alden Smith, and like I said, I've got a chance to have a good conversation with Rodney and some really wonderful, influential people, and even in the athlete space. What has been the most satisfying part of, kind of making these authentic relationships in spaces where people can only aspire to be, right? It sounds like, God's moved you in, your brand values moved you in. What's been the most gratifying part of working in these particular spaces where most people would just covet to be, but you just kind of respectfully, gracefully entered into? And what's you most excited about moving forward?
Just to be able to sow into their lives the way God has me to.
Sure.
And do you remember Sixth Sense? How he said, "I see dead people." I just see people.
Okay.
And that's the thing I tell people. I just see people, and people always ask me, "How is it working around athletes?" I said, "I see people."
Yeah.
So I see them in such a different way, and a lot of they're really honestly my friends, and we talk about real stuff, and a lot of times we're talking about God, and we're just talking about stuff, and I'm styling them, and I just got a new position with the NFL Players Association they wanted me to shout that out. I don't know if you know Byron Williams. He played with the Giants back in the day.
I do know Byron.
So he said you gotta mention the NFL Players Association for Dallas Fort Worth. So I just got a new position. I'm helping them.
Excellent.
And so I said, man, God, I said, we're just gonna see. I said, you opened this door. I didn't ask for it, and I said, I don't know. You open it. We just gonna see where it go. I definitely believe with God, nothing happens by coincidence, and.
Sure.
We're just gonna see. He brought me down this path, and I'm on for the ride to see how, like, why he got me working for these athletes, but I know these athletes, and I know he has a purpose and a plan.
That has been revealed. Even your painful places that God has brought you through has been revealing a tons of purpose. It's been, I mean, it's so that's completely evident. But even more so, I really love what you just said. I see people. My company is DT3, and it's those 3 T's: truth, transparency, and transformation. So transparency is just the ability to see and be seen. And you realize that people are more secure and whole. And I think that's a safety thing, right? Like, you don't share everything with everybody. But the more free you are, the more whole you become, the more that you can see and be seen.
Yep.
So God bless you for that, because I think that's where people feel loved the most. That's where people experience the most value the most, when they're like, "Oh man, you see me, you see me." So in our athlete community, we need that. Like we need it badly. Most people, these are very young men, obviously finding an immense amount of success. And we've been paid well, but there's a side to it where it's, you get cast away too. Everything's performance driven, and it's not just, people ain't just loving you just because they love you. They love you because you're the best at what you do. And when you're no longer the best at what you do, now you gotta reset the clock. So tell me, what would you say has been, because when I think about your journey, the experiences even through military and now today, what is your defining moment? I do like to ask our guests that. What would you say is your defining moment, and up to this stage that has brought you to the place of stability, security, and meaning?
I would say for me, my moment would be when God told me to leave the corporate world to become an influencer. And for that, I always look at it, a lot of people pivot or transition when there's turmoil. And a lot of people don't leave when it's calm, or they don't listen when it's calm. Well, everything was going great. And I was at the prime, and I was at my, before I took the position at my corporate job. It was after grad school, and I was competing with 3 people, and I was doing well, and I took the position, and I was there for a while, and God said leave, and I was like, huh? And I was like, huh? And I was like, no, I'm not supposed to go. And God was like, no, you have to go. And I left, and with that, I never thought that I would take this path, but God sent me down this path, and slowly I see, and I said, and these are the questions I asked, and I said, and I say this, and I continue to say this, everything happens for a reason with God. And I said, God, I know you sent me to grad school for a reason now. And I said, some of these classes gonna help me in the up the road.
Sure.
And once again, I say you have to be sensitive.
That's good.
And listen. You have to be sensitive. Look for God, because so many people I know that left their jobs and left different left the places they were at. It was during, their jobs were chaotic and so many things happened. But as I left and to influence, and we have to know how to use our power and how to use it in the way that God wants us to use it, and learn that it's not during a place of turmoil and during transition. We have to know that we have to use it how He sees fit. And to me, that was a moment for me. I always think about it. Don't think that your moment will be during turmoil. It can be when it's calm, and we have to use it as how He sees fit.